This is an Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta special.
Welcome to the Albuquerque Balloon Museum in Albuquerque, New Mexico, next door to Balloon Fiesta Park. I'm Jessica Garate.
And I'm Dean Staley. It has been called the Super Bowl of ballooning, but unlike the Super Bowl, the International Balloon Fiesta does not move from city to city. It calls Albuquerque home every year come October. From humble beginnings 46 years ago, Albuquerque's signature event has taken off. For 9 days, every October, hundreds of thousands of people flock to New Mexico's biggest city from all over.
San Diego,
Phoenix, Detroit, Michigan.
I live in Maui.
To see something
It's incredible. I have no words, absolutely none.
they can't see anywhere else. The world's largest annual balloon rally.
I'm blown away, literally, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
The park is sprawling. The launch field covers 78 acres. That's the size of 54 football fields. And it has to be sprawling when at any given time you can find hundreds of balloons inflating and taking off in rapid fire. The best part, visitors get to see it all happen just feet away. An unforgettable treat after watching the sun come up over the picturesque sandias, which tower over this historic 300-year-old city. Only here, an event with so much color and up-close excitement.
This is a bucket list item for all of us, I would have to say.
A bucket list destination where Darth Vader mingles with cows, while New Mexico native Smokey Bear keeps watch from the sky. The Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, an unforgettable experience. The mass ascension, the highlight.
Magical, just magical.
Here are the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta basics. It starts bright and early Saturday, October 6th with a mass ascension after sunrise. Fiesta runs 9 days. It's still quite a bargain. $10 to get in, free for kids 12 and under. Parking is $15, and you'll want to get here early to avoid the backup and load up on the hot chocolate and breakfast burritos. We have all of that information over on your local station's website, including the schedule of events.
And the mass ascensions are definitely the stars of the show. As you can imagine, getting wave after wave of balloons off the ground in an organized and orchestrated fashion amid a sea of people does not happen by accident. Marissa Lucero shows you it takes a lot of work.
Down to the minute, the timing each morning has to be perfect. The winds just right.
We have lots of different checks and balances in place
to ensure for 9 days in a row, there's a successful launch.
A lot of folks just kind of look at the balloons and think that they just go up all by themselves.
That's not the case. From a deck high above Balloon Fiesta Park, there's an entire launch directing crew who then coordinate with the launch directors known as zebras on the ground who give pilots the green light to lift off on a sprawling field divided into grids.
One person can't do this. It's, as they say, it's a cliche, but it's a team effort.
In 2 waves, they send up almost 600 hot air balloons.
Mass ascension is, especially first day, no matter what, even this 36 years into it, is always hectic.
Take it from this guy, Scott Appleman, CEO of Rainbow Riders, always has the most balloons on the field each year.
It's always really cool, man. I get chills talking about it because it's a feeling that you can't describe, and it's an experience that is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience, having 500 plus balloons flying around you.
But organizers say none of this would be possible without volunteers that make sure the hundreds of thousands of people who wake up before the sun rises to get to Balloon Fiesta Park each year get the view they deserve.
When the box winds allow the pilots to fly from north to south to east to west, that's what's so unique about Albuquerque, and that's what makes Fiesta so wonderful.
Marissa Lucero reporting.
The other stars of the show are definitely the special shapes balloons.
This year we'll see new animals, fun characters, even an emoji making its debut at Balloon Fiesta.
But a famous painter and a famous statue are sure to be crowd favorites.
We've got approximately 20 special shapes that are coming this year that have never been here before.
There's Bila the bear from Albuquerque, Cynthia the seal, an owl, and 2 dogs all ready to fly.
We've got some shapes that are coming from Brazil, the United Kingdom, Great Britain, Portugal, the Netherlands.
You've seen the famous statue of Christ the Redeemer looking over Rio de Janeiro. Now, a 140-foot tall balloon version will look over Albuquerque. Like his art, this inflatable portrait of Vincent van Gogh will mesmerize you. Like the artist, the balloon hails from the Netherlands.
They did all that digitally, computerized printing, so they can actually roll out some fabric and colorize it in the printing ink. When they create the cloth, they actually print in that, and then it's coated to make it airtight.
There's also a mix of quirky new characters. Rat Cheese, Pirate Jack, and Rocket flies in from Florida, while a soccer ball jams out next to a saxophone.
Just a big rubber boot.
You'll get a kick out of this 120-foot boot.
The kids love the special shapes, so we really enjoy having them here.
This new robot, Woozy, and an emoji are sure to be a favorite with the kids. This wolf and lovable koala are on their way with the penguins and other popular balloons that will return this year.
Darth Vader, Yoda, all the bees.
You'll enjoy a total of 99 special-shaped balloons among the 550. The unique giant creations can cost anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000+.
It takes a lot of hours, a lot of sewing, and a lot of engineering to go into one of these.
And it's not always easy navigating them.
Once you get up there, it just moves right with the wind, but it's the up and the down that gets a little bit more complicated.
This year is special. There are 2 balloons that have never missed a Special Shapes rodeo since it started 30 years ago. Chickaboom and Uncle Sam will be honored with the special patch. While a lot of them go up every day at Fiesta, Thursday and Friday are reserved solely for the Special Shapes. They fly in the morning and glow at night.
And they glow for over an hour. It's spectacular.
So far, 18 new special shape balloons are signed up, but a couple more could be added to the list before Balloon Fiesta lifts off.
Balloon Fiesta's website has a photo gallery of all the balloons, special shapes included, and info on where all of those pilots are coming from. We have a link to that on our Balloon Fiesta landing page on your local station's website. While those mass ascensions and special shapes have mass appeal, you don't have to be an early riser to catch another fan favorite at Balloon Fiesta. The balloon glows and special shapes glowdios are pretty amazing sights themselves. Rows and rows of balloons and thousands upon thousands of spectators with front row seats waiting for the sun to go down and the balloons to light up. 5 of the 9 nights the field glows, those crowd pleasers are followed by laser light shows and fireworks.
Morning or nighttime, for a lot of visitors, food and shopping are part of the tradition. Main Street has a wide variety of food and warm drinks to help get you to sunrise and Mass Ascension, and enough breakfast burritos to feed a city. The most pressing question, do you want red or green chili? You'll also find your souvenirs and collectibles along Main Street.
You can also take in the sights in style. On the southwest end of the field, you can take in the action in a more private setting at the Gondola Club. Breakfast or dinner with a view of the field, adult beverages included. That will run you $110, $55 for kids. On the other end of the field, the Chasers Club, an outdoor patio, catered food with a bar and a view of its own, all for $45. Coming up, Balloon Fiesta is a world-class event these days. That wasn't always the case. We'll show you how far it's come.
Plus, more than 500,000 people from out of state make the trip to Balloon Fiesta. But balloons aren't all they see when they get here. The International Balloon Fiesta we know and love today hasn't always been this big.
It all started in a mall parking lot. Madeline Schmidt shows you how far this event has come.
From just 13 balloons and about 10,000 people filling the mall parking lot at the Coronado Center in 1972.
And it was chock full of every kind of imagination a little kid could put together.
To nearly 1 million attendees and roughly 600 balloons.
He was so enthusiastic. He was so up. He had ideas, and some of them were crazy. But many of them were not crazy because they actually happened.
47 Fiestas later, well-known pilot Sid Cutter is the man credited with this annual week-long, breathtaking sight that dazzles spectators where the mountains, desert, and a river meet.
Welcome to Albuquerque, New Mexico, home of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
What we didn't count on was how close it was to the military base. So on that very first day, despite all our promises to the contrary, all the balloons went out onto Kirtland Air Base.
It was a bumpy ride crafting the Fiesta we know today, with stops at the fairgrounds and an open field before settling into the city's Balloon Fiesta Park in 1996. The crowd favorite, balloons of cute, strange, and downright mind-boggling proportions didn't launch until the 80s.
Arabelle, the flying cow, she's a crowd favorite.
Balloon Museum curator Marilee Nason says pilots decided they were getting too serious and special shapes were born. From a Carmen Miranda-inspired balloon to the beloved bees.
People come up with just the most amazing ideas about what they would like to fly.
Almost 100 special shapes fill the air today. Between nighttime events where pilots fire up their tethered balloons to live music and fireworks shows. Today, the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is a smorgasbord of all things balloons and New Mexico. In Albuquerque, Madeline Schmidt reporting.
The 9-day Balloon Fiesta is the busiest time of year for businesses in the Albuquerque area.
That's right. Hundreds of thousands of visitors flood into the city from all around the state and from out of state.
But balloons are just part of the trip. Allison Martinez reports it's like Christmas in October for tourist hotspots.
From taking a stroll through Old Town or indulging in classic New Mexican cuisine.
The Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta is not only the biggest event in New Mexico, it's the most photographed event in the world.
More than 500,000 visitors flock to the land of enchantment from all around the world over the 9-day span of Balloon Fiesta.
We see tourists throughout the whole year, but during Balloon Fiesta it just triples. You see people from all over the world.
And restaurants like Church Street Cafe in Old Town aren't the only ones seeing an influx of visitors.
Balloon Fiesta is an amazing time for us. We're extremely busy. It's like our Christmas.
Last year's Fiesta had a total economic impact of almost $173 million on Albuquerque metro businesses. The Sandia tram sees a 100% spike in ridership when Fiesta arrives.
The tram is really a special place to be, during Balloon Fiesta. You just have so many views, and it says so much about Albuquerque, and you can see a lot here.
Whether it's watching the mass ascension rise over the Albuquerque skies, or taking a trip down the Rio Grande with quiet waters paddling adventures while the balloons splash and dash.
It's also such a great event for us New Mexicans to celebrate something that is really unique to the land of enchantment.
And the 47th celebration is almost here. Reporting in Albuquerque, Allison Martinez.
A lot of tourists use Balloon Fiesta as an opportunity to visit some of the iconic landmarks around New Mexico and take road trips to see places like the Carlsbad Caverns and White Sands. Of course, places like Santa Fe and Taos with their old world charm are just a short drive away. The New Mexico Department of Tourism has a must-do list that covers natural and historic landmarks and a lot more, all the way down to the restaurants that serve the best green chili cheeseburgers. We have a link to that information posted on your local station's website.
A survey done last year revealed some interesting facts about who's coming to Balloon Fiesta and how often they make the trip. There are a lot of first-timers. More than half of all guests at last year's event had never been to Balloon Fiesta. More than a quarter of people at the event last October said they've made the trip at least 5 times.
There's a reason balloonists love Albuquerque. Coming up, the weather phenomenon here that has its own nickname.
They hold Balloon Fiesta in October because it's ideal weather-wise.
That's right, and this city is the perfect setting because of a wind pattern called the Albuquerque Box. Jackie Kent and meteorologist Kristen Curry shows you how it works.
Balloon pilot Mike Bertetto is gearing up for another Balloon Fiesta.
I started chasing and crewing in 1978, and I finally bit the bullet
3 years ago and decided to get my pilot license and buy a balloon.
He says Albuquerque has the best weather for mass ascensions because of the city's unique wind pattern called the box. Meteorologist Kristen Curry explains how it works.
Every year during Balloon Fiesta, we talk about the balloon box here, and there's a reason that we look for this box, and it has to do with the weather. Now, typically here in New Mexico, we see the colder temperatures up in the mountains to the north of the Albuquerque area, and that cool, dense air actually sinks down the valley into those lower elevations all the way into the Albuquerque metro area. Now, we call this a drainage wind that moves from the north to the south. That gives us the bottom of the box. Now, up higher in the atmosphere, typically for this time of year, we see a southerly flow, meaning the winds come from the south to the north. And it's that different level of the wind coming at different directions that gives us the box. The northerly wind down closer to the ground and the upper winds coming out of the south to the north. So the balloons ride that northerly wind at the ground. They use their burners to get up to the higher portions of the air, and then they come to the south. That's what gives us the Balloon Fiesta box.
Bertetto says it helps chase crews track balloons, and the box creates a synchronized formation of balloons, making mass ascension spectacular to watch.
What a rush leaving a field of 100,000 people down below you, and you're flying off of that field.
With Kristen Curry, Jackie Kent reporting.
Coming up, if a hotel or an RV is just too traditional for you, Balloon Fiesta's offering something new this year. We take you glamping. And some old friends make a new appearance at Balloon Fiesta. New this year, glamping or luxury camping near the Balloon Fiesta field. 12 safari tents with comfy beds and private bathrooms. It costs $1,500 a tent for 3 nights. Also new, you can have your own personal driver on the field. For $350, you get a golf cart with a driver/tour guide and more access around the park. Balloon Fiesta is going back to its roots with its official poster this year. That's the Roadrunner making another escape from Wile E. Coyote. A California-based Looney Tunes artist dreamt up the poster. The characters were featured in the poster for the first Balloon Fiesta back in 1972 and again in 1974.
Here are the Balloon Fiesta basics. It starts bright and early Saturday, October 6th with a mass ascension after sunrise. Runs 9 days. It's still quite a bargain. $10 to get in, free for kids 12 and under. Parking is $15. Check your local station's website for all of the schedules and history of the event and bios on all of the balloons.
We cover Balloon Fiesta wall to wall. We're out here live every morning, all 9 days, with crews on the field and beautiful live pictures from the air. You can watch all the action live on air or online with your local station.
If you miss our live television coverage of Balloon Fiesta, we invite you to come to Albuquerque to see it in person.
That's right. Put it on your bucket list because there's nothing like it in the world. And it happens every fall right here in the heart of New Mexico.
We'll see you out here.